Hey, how's it going? Jossie here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a couple add-ons that I think are just mandatory in RPGs. Okay, like super important. These are add-ons which just provide you information that you wouldn't normally have without them, and that's what makes them so important. I highly recommend that you get all of these add-ons if you're even a little bit serious about RPGs. Like all the top players run these. You can see it in their streams, in their videos, and everything. And it's just honestly an unfair advantage. Like if you don't play with these, you're missing out, and like you're not playing the same playing field as everyone else is. Okay, the first add-on I want to talk about here is called capping. I'm gonna have all the links to all these add-ons in the description below, by the way. So just check that out if you want to see them. So capping, here, let me just click it. Test here. What it does is it shows you these bars here, okay, in BGs. So in the middle of a BG, you have all this different information. It's auto-configured already. Just need to download it. And it'll show you timers for all the important information. So it covers things like how long it's gonna take to for base to cap over, for example, right? Like if you get the flag, it takes like what 30 or 45 seconds or something for the flag for the base to become under your faction's control. That's really important to know because you need to know if you want to spin it or something like that. Another really important thing it shows is that it shows you what the final score would be at the end of a game. For example, on like Arathi Basin, if you control 2 bases and your opponent controls 3, you need to know like if you have more points than them currently at the moment, you might still be winning the game even with 2 bases. And that's what capping shows in this bar here. Super important. Like your strategy is completely dependent sometimes on whether you're gonna win on 2 bases or even 1 base, or maybe you need 3, maybe you need 4. Or you need to know like how many flag caps you need to get. Like what else? It shows you, for example, on Silver Shard Mines, like how many cards you need and how many cards your opponents need to win the game. In decimals too, so it covers the residuals. Like it's just so much useful information that normally you'd have to calculate real fast or just guess, but that's not good enough, you know? You need to know the exact numbers and exact timings for stuff. Yeah, if you ever see someone in your team say like, oh, we definitely win with only 2 bases, they probably have this add-on. That's what they're looking at. That's what they're calling out. And that's what you should get as well. All right, next add-on that I want to talk about. This one's a bit of a lesser known one, actually. It's called Reporter. So let me just show it to you here. For example, Twin Peaks. Okay, so, oh, it disappeared. What this does is basically it shows you this map, okay? So when you're in game, this map is just constantly available, right? It's always shown here because of Reporter. And for the entire map, it shows you where your whole team is, all right? Just little dots on the map. It shows you who the healers are. You can configure it to like, you know, specify which ones are healers. And it shows you if the people are dying or not. So this is really important because, you know, having awareness of the map is so important in RPGs. You don't want to just keep flipping back and forth like between the map, right? You're playing, and you see people do this too, and it's like when you have your map open, you see nothing going on, and you had to kind of like flip back and forth, just flash open to see where everyone is. But with this add-on, okay, it puts this small one on the screen where you just see where everyone is at all times, right? And you kind of like really quickly, you're still playing the game with your normal screen, but you can quickly glance over to the map and see what's going on over there. It's super useful, especially when you have the option to see healers, right? You can see how many bases have healers, how many healers are at each base, if they're going somewhere or not. Like it's just really quick information without having to open your map over and over. It makes you react faster to, you know, peels and base transfers and rotations, and overall it's just like extremely useful. Like you always want to see a map of where everyone is, right? And if people are dying, and you see if someone is dying at, you know, Fel Reaver and you're like in middle, you can go peel right away, and then your team knows you're peeling if they have the add-on too. So highly recommend this add-on as well. Next add-on I want to talk about is called Battleground Enemies. Just open this up. Battleground Enemies, and we'll show you what it looks like in test mode. So Battleground Enemies, this is basically arena frames, right? Same as arena frames like Gladius or whatever, except for Battlegrounds, right? And we all know how important Gladius and arena frames are, right? Like, so it shows you your enemy frames, all of them. Normally it would be 10, of course, in RPGs, but you know, up to 15 in like random BGs, I guess, if you're playing that. It shows you, you know, their HP, all their like trinkets and their DRs here, their big cooldowns. It shows you the HP and shows you if they're in range or not, right? Like if they're grayed out, they're not in range. It's useful for a couple of different reasons. Like you want to see the status of everyone around you and their team's, HP, how many of them are alive, how many of them are near you, right, in the current fight, because you know if they're grayed out, if they're not within your target range. Of course, it's also really useful for all the information it provides, like the DRs, because when you have this many people, it's impossible to track DRs of all of them, right? So this is on a quick glance, you kind of see if you should stun or fear somebody or not, and if they have the trinket up, or even what trinket they're using, right? It's quite useful to know as well. Another really cool thing about this add-on actually is that it shows the people targeting it. So this number on the side here, for example, these 3 here and whatever, let's stop the animation. Okay, for instance, this guy, this Blood DK here, you see he's got 3 people targeting him. That's useful to know because in Battlegrounds, you have so many DPS players and it's really important to focus your damage on one target, right? Like you know that if this guy's low, you need people targeting him, right? And you know if everyone's on him and if you can secure a kill or not. And you can kind of like, make sure you let your team know like, oh, we're going to Blood DK. You know if they're actually targeting him or not to be killing this guy. Okay. Another add-on that I want to talk about, let me turn off the testing for this first. There we go. Is an add-on called BigDebuffs. This is also a really popular add-on. People use it for, Arena, of course. Probably essential there as well, but just as important in Battlegrounds. So what BigDebuffs does, by default, you can configure to do a lot of stuff like on your frames and everything, but by default, what it does is on your enemy target frames, like these dummies, it'll show you on the side of the box here, like, okay, these guys don't get feared. It'll show you on the side of the box, like what kind of debuff they have on them. Okay, I had to go find a dummy that actually gets affected by CCs. This guy here does. I had to wait for my fear cooldown. So when I fear this guy here, for example, this big box on the side here, this is what BigDebuff is. So it shows you every person has 1 box on them, and it shows you what the most important big debuff is. But not always debuffs, buffs as well that they have. For example, if you're killing an enemy here, right, you're killing an enemy here, and it'll show you, for example, if they get pain suppress, right? If they get targeted pain suppress, it shows you up here. So now you know, gotta switch targets, right? It's really easy to see because you're targeting this guy. You also see things like, once again, I showed just now, if you fear him, you see if they're CC'd, you kind of know what's going on. You don't have to try to break the fear. And just all sorts of stuff, like if they're popping a big damage cooldown, like if they have Avenging Wrath up, then you know that they have Avenging Wrath up. I mean, obviously you see the wings also, but from a quick glance, you kind of see everybody, right? Like you see the people on the other side as well. And what kind of debuff they have, and what kind of buffs they have, and what kind of damage reduction and CC they have, and it just makes your decision making really quick, right? To know what to do for that target. It's also useful for healers where I know some people don't play with friendly plates on, but BigDebuffs also works for friendly plates, and you can see things like, Hodge, and you need to dispel it, right? So obviously on your raid frames, you should be able to see that, but from a quick glance, if you see someone in a spell CC, you just target them and drop them a dispel, or even a mouse over dispel like that. Makes you really, really quick at the game. Okay, and finally, the last item I want to talk about, this one is specific to healers, I would say. The last item I want to talk about is Grid 2. But actually, it doesn't have to be Grid 2. What's important here, okay, as a healer for Battlegrounds, is to have a really good nameplate system. So you can see here, this is my Grid 2 raid frame. Yeah, so I highly recommend having a better than default raid frame system as a healer, right? So for example, Grid 2 is the one I use. I'm going to include the export for my profile as well in this video, so you can just take exactly what I have here if you don't want to set up yourself. But basically, it helps you see more important information than what the default frames just show, right? For example, for mine, it shows atonement. So everyone is gray here. And if I put shield, I have atonement, and it shows me green for atonement first of all. So on a very quick glance, you can see everyone who's green, everyone who's not green, if they have atonement or not, and the duration of it too, this bar here. So when this bar is getting low, I'm like, okay, it's almost over. Yeah, okay, I have Trinity, so it lasts really long. Let's say, yeah, atonement's almost over, so boom, refresh it, and now it's full bar again. Like, it just helps so much to be able to see who your atonement's on really quickly, who is going to expire off of. This way, you never miss, like, if your tank is being damaged, your DPS is being damaged, you never miss if they're in atonement or not. You don't want to waste even a second thinking about if they need atonement or not. It also lets you do, quick mouse overs. I've also configured my Grid 2 to show dispellable CC. which is really, really useful, right? So there's a big box on the corner here. I can't really show it here because I need someone to put CC on me. But basically, show dispellable CC. That way, on a quick glance of your frames, you know, okay, instantly go dispel this guy here. He has a Hodge on him. Dispel this guy here. He's got a, you know, whatever, fear on him. It also shows UA in a red border. It's just like so much information you can get from the raid frames, right? Because if you're looking at a team fight, for example, right? If you're trying to look from your screen, you see this guy and you see this guy, but if someone behind you, like this hunter here, if he gets stuck in a Hodge, I don't know that, right? You can't always be behind everybody. You can't have everyone on your screen at the same time. You need to be able to see them in your raid frames, right? It's information on your screen to make the right decision, right? Immediately. But yeah, I mean, I have my grid 2 set up perfectly for Battlegrounds. You know, pick up the add-on, pick up the export, and you can have the exact same setup I have, all in the description below. And that's it. These 5 add-ons, I would say, are all essential, okay, for Battlegrounds. But at the same time, I would say these are the only essential add-ons for Battlegrounds, right? Anything else on top of this is up to your own preference, and I wouldn't say is not as important. But definitely pick up these 5. Pick up these 5 and you're going to be playing better. You're going to have more rating for sure. Yeah, so, you know, let me know if there's any add-ons that you think are super essential for RPG that I didn't cover here. Or if there's any of these 5 that you don't agree with, that you think you don't need or are not necessary. You know, let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. I love to get feedback. In fact, one add-on here, Reporter, was recommended to me by one of my comments on my other YouTube videos. And I've used it since then, and it's been so amazing for me. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something from this video. Like and subscribe if you liked what you saw, and if you want to see more, I have tons more content coming. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye.